over extra cover, and it just skids as it purchases.
It looked like 4 off the bat, but it sort of had backspin on it, didn't it, when it got towards the fielder? A bit of moisture on the outfield, really. It spins back towards the cover fielder.
We'll get it.
Crane, 13 deliveries, 3 dot balls, 1 for 16. Chipped in the air, this could carry. No, decides to bail out. Attempt to go airborne, just a single to end the over, so 25 to go, 58 required.
The chant of Green Army has gone up behind us here in the pod. The crowd here knowing that they play an important role here to see if they can get their team over the line. 25 deliveries to go, 58 needed. It is the last year's champions with their back slightly against the wall here, and they're up against the London Spirit side that have been re-energised this 100 with one of the smartest tacticians in the game in Owen Morgan leading the way. Wheel at the top of his mark, born in South Africa, plays for Scotland, performing tonight for the London Spirit. Gives himself space, yeah, that's what they like. The crowd are up and about now. The boundary off the first.
One thing this London Spirit team have done is they've bowled exceptionally well to their field. That's been set by Owen Morgan. This time, full and outside off, and when you've got mid off and cover up, you just see him just shimmy slightly, just shimmy to the leg side.
The best part for the Brave, they'll always be looking for a boundary off those first 2 deliveries of the set of 5, because it just releases a little bit of the scoreboard pressure.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is you don't have to. It seems like this pitch has been a little bit hard to score as freely as both teams would have liked.
Yeah.
Obviously, London Spirit a little bit under than what they would have wanted, given that they won the toss. So you can get the 2s in the leg side if you take the pace off.
You said when you get the food.
A little bit of pace off, but it just skips across the ground here and some fast work off the boundary as well. So for the London Spirit boundary riders, they've got a couple of jobs to do. One is to take the catch on the boundary, potentially if they're going for the maximum. They've got to cover the ground well, cut down angles, and try and restrict those 2s if the Southern Brave are going for that. Owen Morgan in complete control out there. All eyes in terms of the men in blue are on him. That's clipped nicely. How nicely? Almost nicely. I tell you what, we just spoke about the importance of the boundary rider fielders. Nathan Ellis almost pulled off a miraculous save.
Yeah, everyone just held their breath, didn't they? Southern Brave fans were willing this, hoping that it would find the boundary. Pretty good effort.
Cuts up and over, it's through. The flurry of boundaries are coming. 3 of them in this set of 5. And you just sense something's about to start. 104 for 5, 20 balls to go.
Yeah, they'll take them any way they can. Flicked on offer, you throw your hands at it, you hope either you find the middle of the bat and you hit it where you want to, or you get that thickish outside edge. Doesn't matter, 4 runs. Partnership now 24 off 14. Now you just get a sense that things are just changing.
And with that, all the runs, the 14 from it, it's going to be a strategic timeout. So the huddle starts for the London Spirit. Conversation pieces here. Owen Morgan can just settle them. That's his job there. All his hard work in terms of getting these players ready for their roles has been done in the lead-up. And he'll just be constantly reminding them, what's your skill set? Go to your strength. Whiteley's the key, 38 from 26. What do you reckon, Nathan? He's not on strike at the moment. What's the delivery to Fuller?
It's almost London Spirit want to bowl to him, don't they? Because Whiteley is the one that can do damage, has done damage in the past as well. He's known for hitting the long ball. Whereas Nathan Ellis, on the other hand, not that long ago, he bowled the last over in Hampshire and was able to get them victory. But this is the last set that really did change the momentum. Brad Wheel just getting his lines wrong for the fields that were set and the length. And Whiteley jumped all over it.
And Owen Morgan is about player autonomy, so he wouldn't be telling Nathan Ellis what to do. He'll be saying, right, what are you thinking? What kind of field can we set? If it's, too expansive, you might just pull him back a little bit. But it'll be in the hands of the bowlers, and Owen Morgan will support them. Ellis, wonderful death bowler. Goes a hard length there. Again, going to be hard and fast off the boundary line. And you're not going to run on that man's arm.
And they haven't. I reckon there's been about 5 to 6 balls that have just been taking the pace off. Thoughts about 2, and then, quick look. Glenn Maxwell, no, we're not going.
And sometimes he'll tease you. He won't get there quickly, almost to say, go on, take another one. And then the rocket arm comes in.
Yeah, sounds like Deandra Dotton, who we're going to see later on in the Women's 100.
So Whiteley gets on strike. He'll clear that front leg. Where can he send it? Nowhere. Well bowled by Ellis. A little frustration from the crowd.
Yeah, you can hear them willing him on, going, surely go for 2. But this is so important in T20 cricket that you kind of cut down those 2s. Whiteley scoring heavily on the leg side, straight down the ground.
Sits back on that back leg and tries to hit the ball at the top of the rise, but yet again, just the single. This is where scoreboard pressure comes in, Les.
And this is what London Spirit and Owen Morgan believe in. The fact that throughout this competition so far, based on what happened last year, not a great performance for the London Spirit, but they've decided to change tact. Bat first and then bowl well, defend.
Oh, yeah, that's going to release a lot of pressure. The moment he struck it, Whiteley knew, and so he should. He's hit probably the most amount of sixes going around. That gets the crowd up.
Yeah, the length was all wrong. It just sat up in the pitch, didn't it? We know he clears the front leg. It was almost like a baseball swing. You can just hit through the line nicely.
Can he go again? Slower delivery, changes his hands, smart by Whiteley. Gets up and back for 2. 85 balls gone, 115 on the board, 5 down.
I think we're going to be in for a close one here, Mel. 33 off 15. And then you start to look at who's going to bowl next. Ellis has got one more that he can bowl, set of 5. Thompson, Brad Wheel, Mason Crane. Owen Morgan has got quite a few plays. Maxwell as well. You wouldn't expect Maxwell to be bowling at the death.
9 minutes for 15 deliveries. I think that was the equation for the Spirit as well. They fell short of that, so a fielder had to come up in a tight match. That is not what the Spirit need. Oh, through the kitchen sink at it.
And Whiteley's disappointed as well. That was in the slot.
I tell you, room 234 at the hotel would have been in strife.
Your room now?
No, I'm always on the other side. A dot from the first. It's well bowled and the protection is there. So they've found a way into this set of 5 again, the London Spirit.
Perfect start for them for this set of 5, a dot and a 1. And now they get Fuller, who's only faced 8 deliveries and scored 9 runs. So they feel a little bit more comfortable with Whiteley up the other end. Everyone up behind the wicket.
Back of the length, that is skied. There is an opportunity, it's just going to fall short. Pollard goes with a one-handed pickup. It's a little bit of a spill at the bowler's end.
Well, Whiteley actually was looking to come back for 2, but just simply because it hung in the air for a period of time. But unfortunately, Fuller at the other end slipped, fell, and it looks like he's broken his bat. Not the ideal situation.
Yeah, I think he's done the toe of the bat. It's going to have to be a quick change here. And you get the sense, if he's out there trying to chase this total down, that's probably one of his faves. Nothing worse, is there?
Well, we saw Alex Hales, didn't we, the other day? Had physio tape keeping it together, a chunk missing.
Well, that's batters for you sometimes, isn't it? You're quite superstitious. You either stick with one and you use it till it absolutely falls apart, or you're more than happy to bring out the new stick.
Oh, yeah, you can see that, can't you? Right off the face. Oh, I don't know how he's done that.
Well, now he's asking for the tape. Well, I've got the new stick. I've got 3 of them if you want, Ross. What do you say?
Well, sometimes some players actually train and bat with one in the nets. They don't use it for games. Some use it all the way through. Depends. Players can be very superstitious about their bats. Sometimes there'll be numbers on them, so they know, but he's going, I don't want those other 3 sticks. I want my favourite bat.
Club cricketers will be saying it's Big Bertha. You've got to keep Big Bertha out there. Cricket also is one of the most superstitious games going around, isn't it? Players have their own idiosyncrasies. That's the target. 31 needed for the Southern Brave to go 2 from 2 here at this ground. The women winning earlier in the day, and they've just got 12 deliveries to do it in. The equation is, on average, just a little tick over 2 runs per ball. He likes that full length on the pads, but so too does Ross Whiteley. Clips it away beautifully, goes past 50. He won't be thinking about that. It's the win and the win only for the Brave on his mind.
Well, he's taken a little bit of time to get his innings going, but he's motoring at the busy end of the innings. He's really accelerated his innings, 5 fours and a 6. And one thing we've known here at the Ageas Bowl is it's been quick throughout the day. So if you find the gap, it's going to go.
Gets it right now, though, does Thompson. What a fight back. Pumped for the ball before. Knows that Ross Whiteley is the man that can take the Brave over the line. Keeps his nerve. Gets through the defences. The Spirit will be loving that.
On the previous delivery, he was trying to execute this exact ball. He wasn't disheartened with the fact that it went for 4. He still zeroed in on the fact that he wanted to execute the Yorker. Got the line right. Got the length perfect. That is a big ball in a pressure situation. Ross Whiteley, he goes for a well-made 52. And the Southern Brave, 121 for 6.
Do not despair, Brave fans. You bat deep. Because all of a sudden, it's Chris Jordan out in the middle. He's been in these kinds of situations before. He'll be settling himself at the moment at the non-striker's end to this next set of 5. It's Ellis to Fuller. If he'd left it, he probably would have got a wide call. And that's clarity of mind in this pressure situation, isn't it? Are you brave enough to leave one?
It's about knowing where your stumps are. Remember that line is also subjective, isn't it? It's up to the umpire. So you kind of take a bit of a gamble if you do leave it. You hope the umpire sides with you. Jordan, he's had a bat so far in this edition of the 100. 1-4, 1-6. Can hit the long ball. Desperately needed right now for the Southern Brave.
Communication galore going on for the Spirit. Nathan Ellis chatting to Rossington, getting some feedback there. Glenn Maxwell is yelling, trying to get the attention of someone. He's right in front of us at the moment. Fully switched on, the London Spirit. They only won 1 game last year. Yeah, they're happy with singles, the Spirit.
You think of what Nathan Ellis has had to do. For those that don't know, he's from New South Wales in Australia and wasn't getting opportunities, so packed his car up and drove down to Tasmania to ply his trade to try and get into Tasmanian Tigers, fought his way through the Big Bash, got into the Australian team, now IPL 100. It's a great story. Just shows you the persistence that he had, the real drive to always want to put his best foot forward, to give himself every opportunity.
And he can execute that length delivery very well.
And the thing for him now is he's bowling the key overs. It's not game's done and dusted. You can have your overs and bowl your 20 balls. No, I need you to do a job right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a want there, isn't there? To be in the heat of the battle right at the end of the innings. Backs off the length this time. Does it clear the fielder? It does. It's racing away. It's going to beat Crane to the boundary line. Streaky, but the result they were looking for.
The crowd are hoping, aren't they? They're watching at the edge of their seats. Pace taken off, 67 miles. Jordan was beaten. It gets that thick outside edge, just balloons over third. Well, we know how quick the outfield is.
This is huge, this delivery too. A boundary, ideally the 6 for the Brave, and they're in with a shot. A dot delivery, and the Spirit will be loving it. It's a single. They thought about it. They said no. 5 to go here at the Ageas. It's 129 on the board. 6 wickets down. 19 needed.
So who's bowling? Thompson. Brad Wheels also got 5 deliveries left. Crowd just waiting.
Yeah, it will be Jordan Thompson. He has executed well tonight. Such a competitor. He and Nathan Ellis gone around at the Hobart Hurricanes together. And now all of a sudden the jostle starts on the boundary line because the Spirit know. Protect the first couple of balls here and they've got it in the bag. Goes wide, gives away a wide. Handy for the Brave.
It just keeps the Southern Brave into it. Ideally for the crowd and obviously for Southern Brave, they need to find a boundary within this first delivery. You'd expect him to go that Yorker length potentially or pace off.
Looks to go on that wide line again. Was brave from Thompson, but even better by Fuller. That's the boundary they needed. They're still in at the Brave.
Well, he certainly executed what he wanted to do because he tried to do that the previous ball. But I think the tactics are wrong here in the sense that they've got third and backward point up. And if you're going to bowl pace on, trying to hit that wide line, you've got to execute it perfectly.
Or you have to have protection. So that's the conversation now between Morgan and Thompson. And so what they're almost signalling as well, the London Spirit, is that he's still going to keep going for that full wide line if they put the protection out. I think they're still doing it. They're just making sure that they've got the right fielders in the right positions. So the long haul across the ground, I think it was for Crawley.
I thought they were going to be really brave and actually have only 3 fielders out on the leg side, but they've just brought another one over.
Boundary needed. That's going straight to Maxwell. He's quick across the ground. Best pair of hands in the business to the opposite end. And they get there. Well, finally they take on Glenn Maxwell. And they win that one.
I just wonder if they had put a bit more pressure on Glenn Maxwell throughout the innings, whether little fumbles like this may have started to occur. Adam Rossington didn't take it cleanly. Always hard because it comes in a couple of bounces. Got to stay really low, really calm. Crowd now up and about.
This is what happens, isn't it? The tension builds, you get a little bit tighter, you snatch at the ball, you don't take it cleanly. 12 from 3, boundary needed again. Sliced, there's a fielder out there, the change in the field has worked, the delivery has worked, and Thompson yet again stands up for the Spirit.
Well, they've got the tactics right this time. Again, going wide and full. Crawley was placed perfectly. The pace throughout this over has been roughly the same, 83 miles, gets a good piece of it. The crowd thought, hang on, there's a boundary coming. And then Zach Crawley just pops in and takes it comfortably. That's the end of Fuller. He departs for 18, and Southern Brave now need 12 off 2.
It's the little things in the game, isn't it? Because Owen Morgan, with Thompson, decided to change that field, and all of a sudden it was going to be a shorter fielder out there, but it was Owen Morgan going, no, if we're going to do that, let's get the tallest player out there, let's put Zach Crawley there. And yes, he didn't have to reach too hard, but that is why Owen Morgan is one of the best white ball captains going around. It's a pretty simple equation now, isn't it? 12 from 2. If you're new to the game, they need a maximum, a 6 over the boundary on the full to stay in the hunt. Difficult to get a 6 off a shot like that.
Yeah, Rehan Ahmed. The joys of that, the law as well, because of the catch taken out in the deep, meant that Chris Jordan had to come back to the non-strike. It makes such a big difference. Really does give the advantage to the bowling side because they have picked up a wicket.
Well, as we say over and over again, Lisa, it's a batter's game. You've got to give something back to the bowlers, don't you? You'd love it. Thompson with the last delivery. A legal delivery, and they've got it. Legal delivery. Ellis picks up for the last, and then there's a magnificent win for the London Spirit. Just one win last year, and now all of a sudden they start the second year of the 100 with 3 wins on the trot, and not just 3 wins, a big one over last year's title holders, a team that had not lost here at the Ageas Bowl.
Seems to be that they've got a winning formula. Owen Morgan, Trevor Bayliss at the London Spirit. They back their batters to put a total on the board. We spoke to Glenn Maxwell at the innings break, and he said probably a little bit light on, but their bowlers have done really well. They back their bowlers to be able to defend anything. That took a great effort, needed everyone to be clued into what they were doing, how they were going to execute their skills. Excellent captaincy. He would have been disappointed that he didn't get runs today, but he's